So you may have heard of the 3-fund portfolio, sometimes referred to as the lazy portfolio, and it's essentially one of the simplest, easiest and cost-effective ways of building an investment portfolio for yourself. There are actually loads of these lazy portfolios if you look into it, everything from just a couple of funds to half a dozen or more. But in its essence, the concept is really straightforward. As an investor, you would build out most, if not all of your portfolio using this strategy, and then that's it, you're done, and you can go back to watching Netflix. The thing is, as much as this is a great strategy and will suit a lot of people, I think it's slightly broken for a few reasons which I'll cover off in this video. So by the end of it, you'll be able to figure out if I've fixed it or not, especially if you're not based in the US, because this is one of the key points. There are already loads of videos on YouTube on the topic from some of the biggest names in the personal finance and investing space on YouTube, so we don't need to spend too long explaining what a 3-fund portfolio is. But in short, it's a portfolio that's made up of several parts. One being a domestic market fund, the second being an international fund, and the third being a bond fund. Having a portfolio like this built around funds gives you a number of benefits that include being well diversified. You'll have a stake in the economy from all over the world, so you'll benefit as the global economy grows over the long term. This happens because you'll own thousands of different companies in many different industries, which means that your risk is spread across multiple places and no single company going bust is really going to concern you. Secondly, it will be of low cost to own and manage. By using passively managed funds which track the market, you won't have to pay any hefty ongoing costs, and if any of these funds have charges which are only fractions of a percent. And finally, there's no effort needed to research companies, listen to earning calls, or really have any understanding of companies' financial statements. So it's pretty much win-win and win. By keeping your investment costs low, you save a huge amount of money in the long run, as the charges you pay today could have been money that would have kept compounding for you and your portfolio over many years. And trust me, it adds up to many thousands over the years for the average person. The biggest issue though, is if you haven't already spotted it, is some of the wording describing the funds. You see, we just said that the 3-fund portfolio uses a domestic fund and an international fund. Well, that's all well and good if you live in the US, which is the home of the largest stock market in the world, trading over 60% of the world's equities. But if you live anywhere else, I'm not really sure it's helpful, but I think we can fix it, so bear with me. From a US perspective, there are loads of mutual funds and exchange traded funds, ETFs, which you can trade to make use of your portfolio from brokers like Vanguard or BlackRock, etc. However, over here in the UK, we don't have access to the exact same financial products, so we do need to do a little bit more digging to make sure that we can emulate this portfolio. If you watch any videos on YouTube or you ever hear anyone saying VU or VTI or VT Sax, they aren't trying to speak Klingon to you or a foreign language, but they are using acronyms that only apply to US investors. And this will explain why if you've ever tried to invest in something like SPY or VTI, you either won't find them on your favourite app or investing platform, or you'll get a warning coming up saying, sorry, this isn't available to you. If you're enjoying the video so far, please drop me a like, it really helps out small channels like mine. And consider subscribing too if you enjoy personal finance and investing content. Anyway, back to the video. Now thankfully there are plenty of other options for us, but let's just first address this domestic and international issue. If we concentrated our portfolio in our domestic market, which would be on the London Stock Exchange here in the UK, which included indexes like the FTSE 100 and the FTSE 250, we'd not have the best amount of choice. You see, as much as we might love the old FTSE, if you add up all of the companies on the main index, let's choose the FTSE 100 here as an example, their entire value, or market cap as it's known, would be around £1.9 trillion or $2.5 trillion. This sounds like a lot of money, and it definitely is, but when you compare this to some of the biggest companies around the world, it looks like a little fly on the back of a massive elephant. Microsoft on its own has a market cap of around $2 trillion, and Apple, the current largest company in the world by value, is worth more than the entire FTSE 100 combined, as it sits with a value of around $2.6 trillion. Now, why does this matter? Well, if we were to put too much of our money into our domestic market, which would include the FTSE 100, we're probably going to have to rely on it a bit too much on the success of those companies, and it doesn't really reflect the global economy very well indeed. Now, just for reference, the UK economy currently sits around 4% of the global market. So if you ever want a guide about how much of your assets you might want to have here based on that weight, then that's what you want to be looking at. Now, anything more, and we'd consider that overweight. And just like how you feel after eating Christmas dinner, it's not necessarily a good thing. Although with everything going on in the world at the moment, there's no saying where the growth might come from in the future. But as with anything, reducing your risk and diversifying is always a good strategy, in my view. Okay, so how do we fix it? And then how do we actually build this thing to use for us here in the UK? Well, you could make the argument that you want the whole UK market as one of your funds, and then have international fund cover everything else, for example. and then you could add in a global bond fund too as step 3 to complete this whole portfolio. There are 2 issues here though. Let's cover one here. Now the big question though is how much of your portfolio by percentage would you want in each fund? Well, there's no easy answer to this one. It's actually completely down to you. Some things to consider would be things like your age, the level of risk you want to take, and how long you expect to invest for too. But anyway, let's run some examples. Now, I'll just use my own circumstances as a first one. So I'm 33, relatively young, long time horizons, 20 years plus for an investor, and most likely indefinitely in the markets. Relatively high risk tolerance, I sleep pretty soundly at night with some of my selections, and personally I don't care too much about assets like bonds whilst I'm in the kind of wealth building stage. So my 3-fund portfolio would probably be a 2-fund mix. I just want a little bit of the UK, and I want to make sure I owned a good chunk of the rest of the world. Now the only issue here, which I mentioned earlier when I said there was a second problem, was that because the world revolves around the US in terms of investing and its popular market, if you do choose to invest in the UK with one fund and the rest of the world with another, you don't actually get a huge amount of choice. So for example, it's easy enough to find a FTSE 100 fund or ETF or even a FTSE all-share, which would cover most of the UK market. You get less choice though when looking at the rest of the world, excluding the UK. There are some ETFs and funds, ones like this one from X-Trackers that I found, or even this Vanguard fund here that covers the developed world. The issue is that the ETF looks fairly pricey at 0.4%, and the fund option from Vanguard is the developed world, so we might miss some growth for emerging markets. But not as easy as you think, is it? If you were slightly older and maybe had a lower risk profile, maybe you'd choose 5% UK, 60% the rest of the world, and 35% bonds or something like that. As an example for bonds funds, Vanguard has some really good choices here, which I'll pop up on screen, which would be this global bond fund too, if you want to remain quite well diversified. However, after saying all this, we're global citizens, so screw all of this domestic and international business worrying about where we live. We just want to make sure that we get the returns of the overall market whilst reducing our fees and keeping things simple. So really, here are my fixes for the 3-fund portfolio or any other lazy kind of investing, which would be a great place to start for the majority of people. So we could, for example, just have a split between the developed world and the developing world, which is actually something I discussed in one of my most popular videos, which I'll leave a kind of picture up here on screen for. Now there's funds available from Vanguard and other providers that track both of these markets, so it doesn't necessarily matter where you go to. Alternatively, you could just use a global index fund and then mix this with some bonds if you really were inclined to do that. Something like the super popular FTSE All-World ETF, which trades under VWRL, would give you everything you might need all over the world, and rather than trying to figure things out for yourself. Looks like my fix has completely butchered this 3-fund lazy portfolio then, doesn't it? But in a good way, I guess, because let's be honest, less is more in the case of investing. Why complicate things in an already complicated space? Remember, anytime you put together any kind of portfolio and decide on your percentages and allocations, you'll have to revisit this and rebalance it over time, maybe once a year or something like that. If you have a single fund, then balancing can be done for you. So if that's just another thing if you want to do, decide yourself, it's all completely up to you. If you want to be even lazier, then forget about 3 funds altogether and just go for something like the Vanguard Life Strategy range. This could be quite a good example, as you can have a mix of bonds and equities, and then you can kind of choose that mix that you want based on the options available to you. So you've got everything from 100% stocks all the way down to a more conservative 20% stocks, making up the rest of the mix here with bonds. Everything here really, again, like anything, comes down to your own personal preferences. Do you want to spend a lot of time managing your portfolio? Do you enjoy it? And are you happy to put bets on where the future growth might come from? If you're ever unsure, then keeping things simple, in my opinion, is probably the best option. Also, let's not forget that this doesn't mean you can't hold other assets or pick individual stocks or even cryptocurrencies. I do all of these things, but I do make sure that the core of my portfolio is based around low-cost index funds, because I know that beating the market is incredibly hard, and that over the long term, I'll most likely be better off just using popular indexes like the S&P 500 to grow my wealth. But you'll have to check back here in 10 to 20 years to see if I succeed. Until then, I'll keep an eye on things and just remain consistent. Definitely let me know what you think in the comments below. Is the 3-fund portfolio still something you might consider using as someone from the UK or elsewhere, or do you think that it might be a little outdated, or even something that just makes investing more complicated than it needs to be? I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts, so definitely let me know. Anyway, drop me a like if you've enjoyed the video, subscribe for many more, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, as always, happy investing.